Hello there, Outliers. Niyama Shang here. I am really glad to be in space with you today. Today, we're going to be focusing on flow first and showing up while the magic is alive. I almost didn't make this video because I ended up trying to over tailor it. I had an idea, I got excited about it. I was like, I'm going to come on live and I'm going to come and share. And then I went to a part of my brain went and said it's time to get like serious. Let's go make sure it's following the right flow, make sure it has all the right things logically progressed. This is how my brain sounds, by the way. But that thing that came and said there was energy, there was excitement. I felt alive. It felt like there was a fire and something that really wanted to come out and be both expressed and shaped with you all here. And after a few minutes of trying to shape it using my AI to get to like capture my voice and get what I really want to get across, I eventually said, "Hey, look, I just don't even feel like doing this anymore." Right? And this is what I found. I'm like, what if it's not just me? Like, what if most outliers don't stall because they lack discipline, but rather they stall because they interrupt the signal midstream, mid transition? Like I felt it. I knew what needed to come in, and I allowed myself to let that flow just leak. All right. I had a good channel going through, and rather than executing on it, allowing myself to show up messy, I ended up allowing that to kind of fizzle itself out. And so today we're going to focus on three things here. We're going to name the flow leak so that you can stop improving, quote unquote, the life out of your best work. So rather than, well, I'll go through all three. We're going to name the flow leak so you stop improving the life out of your best work. We're going to catch your flow break pattern so you stop interrupting your best work before it lands. And we're going to install a flow law. We're going to create now, we're going to package later, and we're going to extract everything else from there. All right. So that's what we're going to play in today's live experience. And as you know, if there's anything that comes to you from any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to bring into this space, please go ahead and leave a chat, leave a message in the comments, and we go back, we read all the messages, we respond back in here, and we really care about it. Right. And if you want to play even further, you can come join us inside of the Outliers Ed School community. It's Outliers. It's school.com/outlier. This is where we take these ideas and we're actually going to have you go and practice being in flow. If you want to be around others that can help you get back into it when you fall out, like that's the space to go and be in. So let's talk a bit here around the flow leak, right? So in this case here, I had an idea. It wasn't actually for this video. It was for another video. I can't remember the exact specifics of it all. Oh, I know what it was. It was about optimizing for myself versus maximizing for others, right? And maybe that video will come out at some point if it still feels good. But I had just had a breakthrough, an insight where I realized that in my attempt to create in the world, I started putting the focus back on me. Right. Like, okay, how are things going to work for my business, for the most effective use of my time, so on and so forth. And I had lost sight of, in that moment, I realized I had lost sight of like, wait, what's best for everyone else? Like, and maybe just, and this is part of why I wanted to make this video. Like, sometimes showing up imperfectly is better than not showing up at all in order to be perfect, right? Or in order to come off polished. Perfect is not really my thing. I don't really know if Outliers, we really get to play the perfect game. But there is an element about like being understood, being respected, being valued, where coming in and having a style that's different than others might get in the way. And it surely showed up for me that way. So in part of my game as I'm up leveling, I'm playing with. I'm not sure. We'll see where it goes. But I'm playing with the prospect of preparing more, playing with the prospect of lining things up and adding more structure to it. You even heard it here in the beginning of this conversation. We're going to do 1, 2, and 3. I'm curious to see how that works and how I can blend, making sure that things work better for you with just the nature of my emergent style of insight. And so I came in, I had the idea of optimizing yourself versus maximizing others. And I was ready. I was like, all right, here we go. And I put it into the software we use to go live stream. I was coming up with some bullets to go along with it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I was working on the way we structure bullets and how I want things to go going forward. So let me go back into my AI and put that into it. And that's where like it just didn't get it. Right. And by the end of it, it ended up being something that um that I spent more time trying to tweak it to say a little bit of what I was trying to get to say than I would have spent if I had just been in conversation with you all. And right there, that ended up being what I'll call a flow leak. There was the energy was coming through. I kind of picture it like I was channeling in. I was in deep connection, and then rather than just like leaning into that, I accidentally allowed myself to leak it out by just choosing to go into the AI as opposed to just hitting go, right? And this leak comes because there was a break in the flow, right? And my pattern of flow breaking is that I'll come in and and the thought in my mind comes off like this is going to be sloppy, right? I don't mind messy. I think there's a difference between messy and sloppy. So I think that there's like for me, my personal flow break is this idea that it's going to come off either sloppy or I'm going to come off naive. There's something inside of me that says I've been doing this for too long for it to just kind of for it not to be yeah, I guess like the word I'll say is like clean, crisp, you know. But at the same time, that's not me. I'm not that guy. Otherwise, it would be that. I've gotten even better at being present. I've been gotten even better at being vulnerable, being transparent, sharing with intention, and making sure that as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about you, thinking about how we up level throughout this and where the actual distinctions are. That's what I'm good at. The elements of coming through. I think the word polished is the word because I'm prepared already. But coming through polished, like that is something else that is a whole new game. That's not for me. That's not for me yet, at least. I'm good to play with it though. So like I didn't catch that flow break though. I didn't see that. I'm like, oh, I'm concerned with like how sloppy this might be if I just show up here. And so I ended up going to the AI trying to clean things up. And it did. It cleaned it so much that it was no longer recognizable. Right? You ever had those moments happen where you like make updates and you polish something so clean it's squeaky clean. It's just like, but this ain't me anymore. Right? Well, I had that take place earlier today. And so this time around, I decided that a couple hours went by, and I was like, I really do want to go live here. I want to go share, and I want to get into not just the habit. Now I want to get into closer to like a regimen, like a practice. There it is. That's the word. I'm like, regimen seems so so strong, but a practice of this all. And so the practice here was like, okay, the practice is we're showing up live every day, and we're going to get our 10,000 minutes for the next 10 weeks. That game is about to turn on. And so with this one here, I actually implemented and installed a flow law. And that was like, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to hit record. Now, then in full transparency, I felt enough flow and I recognized what had happened beforehand that while like I went back a bit to the AI because I'm like, I do want to get this, I want to get it right. But this time around, now that I know what breaks the flow completely, right? I'm not going to go into that. All right. So we had the leak at the energetic, the flow leak in the very beginning, where it was like I'm getting less for each second, right? There was some loss. There it is. There was some energy, some flow loss along the way, but it really broke after I had gone and kind of just try and clean it as much as I can. This is me like you might have heard some be hitting my fist, and that's like me just like beating the joy out of it. That's what I feel like. I'm like, this was awesome, and I'm like, "Bruh, you got to be this. We got to make you into a steel rigid type of message. And so this time around here, the flow for me, the flow law that I was putting in is like, oh, we're gonna go live. We can tighten, right? That's fine, but we're going live, and like good is good enough, right? Good is good enough. And so we got to that point, and we brought it into this space. And I like to look at things when it comes to flow from these three different perspectives. We have the flow leakage, right? So we have to know. Actually, I'll say four, right? Because there's the flow itself. Right. And then the first one there, the next one is your flow leakage. Where are you finding that like you're getting less efficiency? Your flow seems to be dipping down, right? Then there's the flow break. So what's taken on that's actually like stopping the flow? What just like takes you out of it, right? So the flow leak is like there's friction that's taking place there, but you're still moving. And the flow break is when you're like, I gotta just walk away. This is not it. And to kind of repair that or to put the plumbing back in place, we have this flow law, right? And that flow law is just it's just something you can make up for yourself that just says like, hey, when I'm in flow, like this is how I want to show up, right? You can create now, you can package it later, and then you can go. For me, I like to get like uh, I do a lot of thought leadership, and so it's like make it happen, go live, tidy it up a little bit, but to go live, and then we'll come back later on, and we'll both not just repurpose and take the clips out of it, but up purpose it and find like different ways to make it even better than that initial time when you had to share it. But the key thing first is that you need to go out and share. You need to stay in that flow while it's channeling through. And so I want to bring that out for you all. If any of you are finding that your magic seems to be coming dead on arrival when you put it out into the world, the thing that excited you, the reason why you went about doing this, has seemed to fizzle out. Like I invite you to go back and take a look at like your flow, what ends up making you leak your flow, what ends up making it break altogether, and then how you can like institute some kind of flow law to keep you in flow going forward. And while I brought this up today, when it came to a video that is being made and the message that we're sharing, this shows up from messages from individual like thought leadership messages to programs to conversations with people and beyond. This doesn't need to just apply to like creating something, creating a piece of content or thought leadership content doesn't really sit well with me. So creating thought leadership out in the world, this is really about like when you're in your creation flow and your magic is showing. And I'll even say like it goes beyond the creation, like there are some people whose magic is holding space, others whose magic is healing, right? It's not about creating in that kind of sense. So whatever your magic is, if you're finding it that it's starting to leak and it's taking you out of flow, and you're about like make sure you catch it before it ends up breaking, and then let's take it around and recreate the plumbing for with your own kind of flow law, and that's going to change for each person. My invitation for you is to think about it for yourself, like if I was going to put in something to make sure that as I found myself leak and flow, I was able to get myself back into the game to reinstitute that flow. What would the law be? What would be the kind of the mantra or the approach that I take on a regular basis? And that's how we're going to play this game for today. All right. All right. Here's to wishing you like days and days and days of being in flow. If you want to go practice being in flow, coming back into your flow, or anything else that's going to help you up level along your outlier journey, you can come and join us inside of the Outliers Edge community. Go to school.com/Outlier. And we also schedule for everyone a level up launch where we spend 7 days just making sure that you can take on the next thing for your leveling up, and make sure that it gets identified, codified, and then you put it into action. Right? And so every member that comes in there gets a level up launch, and that's for free. All right. I'm looking forward to all that we create together. Go out, stay in flow, and we'll come and create once again. Until the next time we talk, be